Alright, welcome to part 2 of the Ando 4x4 or Lab05 assignment. So now you have all your plans ready. What you should do at this point, and these are all still sort of separate things, right? What you should do at this point is actually select them and group them one by one. Control G, group, group, and group. Alright? Then I go to my perspective view. Zoom out a little bit to find your plans, okay? I'm actually going to leave one set of these sort of in place, right? But I'm going to take them all and copy one set out, sort of down or up, wherever, it doesn't really matter, okay? And what we're going to do is actually we're going to take these and lay them on top of each other, except move them vertically so they're in the sort of correct place on the sort of floor. And what we're going to use is actually this elevation image, and you can kind of refer to this to know basically what the floor-to-floor heights are. The first three are all 215, and the very sort of top one is 375. That's all. And these are sort of elevation dimensions that I've provided you with to be able to kind of flesh out the design. So this is the first floor, we know that, and so we're going to take this one, move it, and just like remember that sort of axis line that we use, so we use the end to align these, and while it's still sort of active or selected, click on the blue arrow and move it up to 215, like that, right? So same thing, this time snap it to the second floor, move it up 215, so it's there, okay? And same thing. All right, so these should be 1, 2, 3, 3 floors. 1, 2, 3. They all should be 215 in between each other. You can use the distance to just like check that really quick, 215, 215, right? So this is where things are, or where they should be in space, okay? I'm going to turn, and actually this is a sort of organization thing I do. To do this and say plan lines, make a new layer called plan lines. And basically just grab everything and stick it in there, okay? Now, you can expand the sort of layer group if you want and all that, but now I make basically a new layer called 3D walls and make that active, okay? This is just so I can actually turn stuff off, and I'm going to turn everything off except for the walls layer that we want here, right? Basically what we're going to do is going to take those walls and extrude them upwards until they meet each other, and kind of do it like, you know, a cake layer, stacked cake layers, one by one. All right, so let's just go ahead and extrude some of this stuff. Extrude all the way up there and change your view mode to wireframe, right? Now there's actually a lot of stuff I don't want actually in here because that, you know, you'll see that when I extruded it actually did the whole group, right? So now that these are in place, I actually don't need, you know, all that stuff. So I'll select these and say ungroup them, right? So I can now select them individually, okay? At the same time, these actually I don't need anymore. Okay, so let's do this and extrude them. Make sure that they're solid. Right? You have the solid on yes, right? And just do that. Right? Same thing. So I'll have to kind of check. you run into that error, it's always kind of a good idea to kind of like check it or maybe redo the curves. You might have had basically a sort of simple editing error somewhere, so it's a good idea to check. Right, so these are simple up to here. If you look at this, then you'll see that that sort of last part of the fourth floor is only 195. The offset part is 375. So what that means is that this guy, this guy, this guy, and these guys should be 375, so a lot taller. And then this guy, this guy, this, and this, right? These people, these elements are 195. So you're kind of starting to get a sense of the sort of overall volume. Okay. Now, this is not, we're not done with the walls yet, but we're going to move on and actually add something else and make a new layer called floor slabs. Make it, no, don't lock it. Make it dark gray, okay, and active. So the first floor, obviously, and we're actually in this model, we're not actually going to do the basement. This project actually has a basement. We're not going to do the basement, but we're just going to put a sort of flat pad below it. So we can use the box command, just click on one side, one corner, the other corner, and go down, I don't know, maybe -20, right, to kind of give it a thickness. And we're just kind of using, you know, like working off of the sort of basic section, and just to keep things consistent, as because you'll see that the floor slab sort of thicknesses actually vary a little bit. Just to keep things consistent, well, let's just keep all the floor slabs 20 centimeters thick. Now it gets trickier when you go up, right? Because if you kind of turn on, let's say, your elevation lines, then you get a better sense of like where these sort of boundaries of like really want to be. And so there's a combination of like whether or not, because if I just copy this upward, then it'll sort of protrude and sort of overlap, and it's just like not clean, not clean way to model. So basically, most of your floor slab should be inset, behind, you know, the walls, right? Is basically what you will want to do. So we'll actually have to sort of retrace some of the outlines for the floor slabs, and also you want an opening for the stairs as well. All right. Now there should be an opening for the bottom, the stairs at the very bottom, but we're just going to ignore that since we're not actually going to make the basement. Now what I do here is to kind of get to what I want to see, I select everything that way and I hide it. So HI hide. So now you can kind of see into this and you get a better sense of where actually the floor slab is going to go. And so you can actually just go through and retrace the floor. So polyline, and just sort of start here at this corner. Make sure that you're snapping to things correctly. Really, it's really important. Go over here. This is where your stairs start. So this is where basically the sort of slab opening for the stair would be. Cross over and close it. So you have a curve here, which we will just extrude downwards, -20. Once your extrusion is there, you can just delete the sort of profile line that you just drew, and so you'll have a solid that looks like this with an opening for the stair. You're cutting the inside of all the wall openings because we'll basically eventually fill out the wall openings at some point. Okay? All right, get to the side view. Show selected. and just show by kind of selecting this bottom part. And if you accidentally kind of get other stuff, then just select it and hide it again, because we want to basically look at this level. I need the line work as well, so show selected again. I'm basically going the other direction, crossing selection to get the line work back like this. All right. This floor slab is basically identical because it has the same sort of opening. So I can just like go and select that floor slab we had earlier, copy it, and just sort of snap to the corner and just do that. All right, it's the same thing. So let's work our way upwards. Crossing selection. All right, this is the slightly trickier one. So this side of the stair is actually double height, so it's open. So the side of the slab actually should sort of coincide or be in, sort of go into here. If you look at the drawings, if you look at the elevation that I gave you guys, you'll see that, so the floor slab we're drawing is actually going downwards, and these sort of two larger walls sit on top of it, right? So that's what we're trying to get at here. So this floor slab actually is going to have to push to the outside of these boundaries, unlike all the other ones. So same thing, polyline. Let's start here, and if you go inwards here, but on here because these are inset, so you'll have to dive in on the inside there, follow the inside track over there, come up to this corner of the wall, and just sort of leave enough for the sort of window opening, right? We can actually maybe adjust this a little bit later, but basically what you want to do is to try to get it so this aligns. And this may be tricky, a little bit tricky for you at first if you're not really familiar with drawing this way, but this is basically what you're looking for. Okay, same thing, extrude it downwards, -20, then delete the sort of curve afterwards. Right, and you know there might be some slight inconsistencies here. That's something that we can actually pretty easily fix afterwards, but we'll just see how things work out and go from there. But this is a good beginning. Okay, so I have all your floor slabs. You can show everything now just to see, okay, you know, that's how the walls sort of sit on it, right? We'll kind of look at that later, but that looks right. Okay. All right, at this point, actually, you know, all the plan lines, you don't really need them, I don't think, so I'll just sort of hide them all. And right now, at this sort of stage, you're actually going to be working more with the elevation drawing, working back and forth between this and this. So what we're going to try to do now is to actually populate the sort of doors and windows at the right height and whatnot, right? So as you can see, and let's actually try to find the right elevation for some of this. So this is the side with like those sort of tall, tiny windows, which should be this side, right? You have the long, tall windows here, and they have the short, like square windows there, and the sort of cube is towards the back, right? Okay, so here, as you zoom in, you'll see that these are 30-30, 30-30, right? Now, this is where we kind of left it whole in the plan, right? And you just kind of want to know, for example, in this case, what's, you know, 30-30? We don't know what's 30-30. The dimensions are for the windows, not the solid parts of the wall, right? So I have a sort of a way that I do this where you just use the box and actually make sure you're on the 3D walls layer. So if you zoom in a little bit, you can click on this corner and click on that corner. So that's a 25 sort of wide sort of box, and just make something, right? Then I just move it up, right, 30, and that's a 30 by 30 hole, right, which is basically this dimension, okay? Now to close it off, basically you want to move this face up to there, right? So the move face command, and you click on the top face, enter, and you click on this corner and move it, and you basically stretch it just like you kind of do in SketchUp. Okay? Now because I know that these are all the same, right, so I'll just take this and copy it upwards. And just be careful that you're sort of snapping things correctly, you're not getting some like weird minute sort of shifts, right? So 1, 2, 3, and then all this is actually up there is solid, right? So you can, it depends whether or not you want to join all of that together eventually. We're going to actually try to join everything together, but sometimes in some cases you might want to actually be able to like make geometries that are within each floor independent, so you can like, you know, select them and hide them, show them to kind of get into the inside, right? So I'll just extrude, oops, a surface, click on this surface, and snap it to the top, and just fill it in that way, okay? Alright, let's look at these. These are, and this is sort of like weird, right? Because these windows are crossing the top and the bottom. It's like 90 above, 100 below. So just really strange stuff going on here. But anyways, I mean, those are the dimensions you got, so you work with what you got, right? But we're going to use the same tactic. Use the box and click on this corner and that corner to kind of get the thickness of the wall, and then go up and just type in 90, okay? So that's, you're basically, in this case, you're filling out the sort of window part first. Same thing, but then you're starting here and coming, or you start here and go over there and go down, right? If you look at this from that sort of floor finish height, you're going down 100. So you're typing in -100. Okay, and so this is actually the space that you want to fill in, right? So then you fill this in using the box command. And these eventually we can delete. Alright, so that's what we're doing. Okay, actually the sort of relationship between the others are actually the same. It's 90 off here, and so this same thing we can actually just copy it upwards. What's happening on the very top layer? Okay, so same thing. Let's copy it again. And then in this case, move face. It's like M. Okay, so make sure it's flush. You're looking at this, and you can sort of Alt-Tab back and forth, make sure that, okay, you know, that elevation looks right. Okay, that looks right. All right, so let's rotate to the back. And which side is this? This is this side. Okay, so there's a door that's 190 high. Okay, and that's here. So if you look at this is 190, this is 215, so that's a difference of 25, right? So if I start on the top, I should go down 25. So use the box command, and same thing, try to kind of snap to the inside and then the outside corner, so you can pull this down, -25. That's that. This guy up here, we need to fill that up eventually, but so 60 and then 96. Okay, so off the ground 60 do that. 60. Same thing. And you can use extrude surface for this as well if you want. 96, and that's the window. And then everything else from here is filled in. Alright, and then just take out the window in the end. So just like look at that, and so Alt tab, okay, that looks right. Okay. Let's do this side. So I think that's this side, right? Yeah, okay. So here on the bottom, it's 30, 35, and then 155. All right. And fill in the rest. Delete out the window. Okay. 2 windows here. 70, 70. The other one's on the ground. So since they're both 70, I can just copy paste. And just fill this one up. Delete out the window. And the other one is actually just 70 off. Copy it up, right? So this is 70, and then you just fill in the rest up to the ceiling. So I am going to basically do this, snap it all the way up to the top and delete that. Okay. That's going to be popping through. Okay, yeah, that's right. Let's look at this again. So there's one here, 70. That top's one, this is probably 70 as well, I'm guessing, even though it's missing that dimension. So we'll just do that. That's this. That's basically this sort of relationship, right? 70 off the ground. So I'm just going to take that and copy it over. And see, new face. Move this guy up. See if that seems roughly right. Okay. All right. Front face, this side, 190, 25, so same thing, right? This guy, just click here and here, negative, pull it down and go negative 25. So that's just for the door. And there's this larger one, oh, same thing, right? 190, 25. So just copy. And you can zoom in and snap it to make sure you're snapping to the right place. Alright. And then the other two are actually larger windows, so we'll ignore that for now. Okay, so you're done with most of the opening. Now, before we end the video, I want to show you a command that I use to kind of clean things up. So I'm going to hide the 4 slabs. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to select everything that's sort of like in the same floor. So all the jump, make sure that you're not kind of selecting anything else from the other floor, but like that, something like that, right? Okay. So we're just going to try to merge these. BooleanUnion. It will. This is different from group in the sense that it will basically join them all together. Okay. So you have to first run the BooleanUnion command and then do MergeAllFaces. Okay, MergeAllFaces. Enter. And what it does, it cleans up the seams like that. Okay, so again, you select that second floor. Make sure you're not selecting anything sort of like small by accident. Make sure your floor slabs are off, right? BooleanUnion, so merge all faces. I'll think for a little bit and it should clean it up. Yeah, so do that for all the other floors. And then merge all faces. So it should clean it up pretty well. Besides those, and obviously this wall is going to be on its own. So merge all faces, right, so clean it up. This wall is on its own. And then all these guys basically, some like that's floating on its own, so it's not going to join to anything really. So let's see, that's going to still be on its own. Alright, so you've sort of cleaned up the facade, or the walls. There's now just divided by the sort of floor slab or floor heights, which is a lot better. Right, and then we're going to continue, we turn the slabs on, we're going to continue finishing off the rest in the next video.